Enjoy, everybody, because you never know when it's the last core. It could be. I'm not saying it is, but it could be.
We got canceled because of the Biden impressions.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, that'll get you
Wow.
there. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. In 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Core. This is Core, and we talk about video games. Yeah, that's right. The industry as a whole and stuff happening within it. It's super exciting for us. Here we are on the sort of eve of a lot of sort of E3 announcements, and as a result, it can be a little quiet. You know, when stuff hasn't already leaked or whatever, we're sort of past the leaks and waiting for what we don't know, and that's okay. That's one way to consume that content, and I'm personally pretty excited about what E3 brings, but we're here anyway doing a show. Oh, we're a day early. Sorry, everybody, for that. It's my fault. I have a thing tomorrow, so I had to switch it up, and I didn't want to miss the show this week, so here we are.
You're going to throw off everyone's rhythm.
That's right. That voice is Bo, of course. We have him, and we have John here. Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. Hello, John. Hi.
Great to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm Scott Johnson, and this is the show with Bo, Scott, and John, and we're excited to be here. So let's dive into all these things. So look at this. Just today, there was a brand new Battlefield announced. It's called Battlefield 2042. They're going back to the future, you guys. So fire up Huey Lewis in the news and get excited. They're going to the future again. And I don't think they've done this since Battlefield, not 2. What did, hold on. List of.
You mean done future
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, they did that before.
Did they?
Games. Let's see. Yeah, because there was a time when the game went future, and I don't remember what it was called, and I'm about to tell you. Okay, here we go.
But not like super future, like relatively early future.
Sort of nearest future, but I remember it had mechs in it. So it was future-y enough. Let's see. Here it is. Okay, so the games go in this order. Battlefield 1942 was released in 2003. Or 2, rather. Road to Rome, 2003. I don't remember that. That was an expansion, I guess. Secret Weapons of World War II was added as another release. I guess that's another expansion pack. And then Vietnam, which was like a full game but small. That happened in 04. And then 05, Battlefield 2. And let me just see. I think this might be the one. Eastern Coalition, Russia, United States, Zibba Zibba. Zip zap
Zibba zibba.
I'm trying to see if this is
future where everybody says zubba zubba.
Let's see. Internet. Middle Eastern Coalition. Okay, that was modern. All right. So that was like that was like a modern take. Okay, then you had your Battlefield Special Forces, Euro First Armed Fury. Oh, here it is. No, that's not it either. Maybe I have this wrong. Oh, no, I was right. Here it is. I found it.
You were not prepared.
I totally found it. Battlefield 2142, October 17th, 2006. That was a full game release in 06 for Windows, PCs, and Mac at the time. Let's see, none of these were consoles. They were all PC. And that was future, obviously, 2142. So I guess that's like 100 years before the one we're getting now. Yeah, there it is. I see it.
No, after.
No. Well, yeah. Right. 100 years after. No, you're right. 100 years after 2042 is 2142. And 2142 is a game that came out in 2006. Anyway, I put a link in the chat there so you can see it. So this is them going back to that well. This is them saying, hey, what if we did... I guess this is more near future, though, than that. That was far-flung 100 years in the future.
It seems like a... shooting low, like
a little bit, yeah. It's 12
if
years.
We did 2142. What if we did 2042?
Yeah.
It's like, why not 2242? What's wrong with you people?
Yeah, it's pretty weird. Sorry. I would have almost preferred something more far flung, but so what this appears to be, I watched this trailer. It's very nice. It's all in game. Looks beautiful, as one might expect. Really pretty. The game itself seems to be sort of near future stuff is happening, but for the most part it's still jets, helicopters, maybe equipped with some cooler weapons or whatever. Lots of what are the wing suits, I guess. So you're flying around on those a lot. the big difference here seems to be that we're in a climate crisis in 2042, which doesn't seem too far from the truth. And so there's giant sudden hurricanes out of nowhere and weird other environmental stuff, like a tornado will suddenly hit the middle of a city you're fighting in while you're fighting. I'm not 100% sure if I like that, because I don't like disasters in games, generally speaking. I don't like stuff like that. It feels like RNG to me, and I don't like it. Like if I'm playing SimCity, guess what I turn off? Disasters. Almost immediately I turn that shit off. I did that in all the games that had disasters because I don't like them. They just annoy me. They come out of nowhere. I'm never ready for them. I don't love it. So I don't know how I feel about that.
That's a city builder. This is different. This is a game where you're supposed to spawn and die, and dying is okay because then you're just gonna respawn and die again.
Yeah.
So who cares if all of a sudden like a Mad Max style Haboob rolls in? You're just like, oh man.
A Haboob. Have you been playing Cyberpunk?
I died in the Haboob.
Have you been playing
Guys,
Cyberpunk?
I live in Arizona. A Haboob is a normal thing.
Yeah,
it's not
a
even
normal
funny
word.
to us anymore.
Quick aside, I first heard the word Haboob in my life playing Cyberpunk because the storms are thing in the Badlands.
Yeah.
Is Bo
It's
skipping
just
for you?
so weird that you're saying this completely unconnected weird word that I have never heard of. Haboob. What the hell is a Haboob?
Is Bo
big
skipping
dust
for
storm.
you, John? Is Bo skipping for you a little
yes,
bit?
it is.
Is Bo skipping for you a little bit? Are you hearing that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Bo's
I'm
jumping
skipping.
around a little bit.
I lost in the Matrix. Is there a glitch in
Now
here?
he's
I need
doing
to
it
find
intentionally.
Man,
and
now
I'm
it feels
hearing
like
it.
both
No, I
things are
swear
happening.
I'm not. They're hacking me.
Here, I'm going Central. Okay, let's see if Central fixes it. I don't know if it will or not, because you're pretty far east. We'll see if that worked or not.
This fixed my connection.
That's weird.
Better?
Hey, you're still
No.
doing it. It's like your old problem, but not slow. It's just you normal.
Let me call. Let me just drop right back.
All right, that sounds fine. All right. Well, he does.
Anyway, Haboobs.
Yeah, Haboobs.
It's just an everyday thing in Arizona.
So wait,
not every day.
tell me
but,
what a
like,
Haboob
it's
is.
It's normal.
I don't
It's
actually
a
know.
big dust storm.
How are we doing?
It's just
Better, worse?
It's a big old dust storm.
Oh, a Haboob is an actual. So the thing in Mad Max Fury Road, the giant duster that they call a duster in that movie, is a Haboob. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'd never heard of that before in my life. So it's a normal thing in Arizona, not here. I can tell you that. We got mountains, I guess. Mountains make a difference. Well, you have mountains, whatever. You guys have mountains, right? Sort of?
Yeah,
Dirt
we have
hills?
mountains.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not great mountains, but they're all right.
They're all right. Yeah.
We don't live on the border of the Rockies, but you know, if you
Yeah.
go far enough north, you get to see some impressive mountains.
Yeah, that's true. Go all the way to Canada and you'll see some mountains, I'll tell you what.
I mean,
but
Arizona has a lot more than sand. People think it does, but it actually, you know, it's got like all the major biomes except
Yeah.
tropical.
yeah.
So, you know, it's all right. It's not great. We know what haboobs are, you know, and everything that comes with that, but it's fine.
Yeah.
And it's really hot.
It's like the old joke. Why did John's girlfriend slap him? He tried to touch Haboobs.
Yep.
Oh.
You got it. I heard that one too. I lived it.
That's good stuff. Bo is back with us. Hello, Bo. You're back.
No, he isn't. You're just
Oh.
looking at it.
Oh, he is frozen. What is he doing? He's just kind of darting his eyes around. I don't know if he can hear us. Because he's still on.
He's troubleshooting, but he left the video on while he's troubleshooting. So he doesn't know we're talking about him right now, presumably, unless he's listening to the stream while we
Yeah.
watch him.
I
Just
don't think
look
he can hear
around.
us. It's creepy. I feel like I'm watching somebody do things I shouldn't watch them do. I don't know why. It feels weird.
The fact that he isn't here,
Yeah.
but now he's animating, kind of feels like you've put a little GIF of him down there.
Yeah.
Back. Hello.
Oh, hi. Hello.
There he
Welcome
is.
back. Hi. How are you?
Yeah. I think we're good. Am I clicking?
No, you sound better now. Yeah.
All right, great.
I think it cleared.
Sorry, I just had to do something with my computer.
It's all right. We enjoyed watching you do it while you did it. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, was it a pleasure?
Yeah,
So
it
did we
was.
settle this Haboob debate?
Yeah, we've talked about the Haboob. I'd only heard of the Haboob today. You had only heard through Cyberpunk, and John has heard it commonly throughout his time living in Arizona. So that's where we came
Yes.
down with that.
Yeah,
Nothing but
we just-
Haboobs all his life.
Yeah, all Haboobs
I
all
will
the time.
say, I'll point out, Mojo Finger in the chat says, I lived in Arizona my whole life. Haboob wasn't used to refer to a dust storm until the last decade. Accurate.
Oh, okay.
But then we all heard a funny new term, and now it's all we call it.
So did the well, I guess we could look this up some other
'Cause
time.
you get to say boob and
Yeah, right.
without blushing.
So is
in
it
common polite society, you get to say boob frequently.
Let's see, Haboob Sandstorm. So they call them Haboobs in the Middle East. That's where it came from. The references in North America are often created by the collapse of a thunderstorm. It's a local. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, so it's fine to call it a Haboob or a duster.
It's an Arabic word.
Yeah. Well, look, when I played that Mad Max video game, that little dude in my car that was like always fixing my car was always going, "Look out! It's a duster!" He'd always yell that out. It was great. And then you had to
think
get
of how much fun it would have been if he was like, "Look out! It's a haboob."
I mean, yeah,
you're not wrong. I can see the point to you.
You're not wrong. Well, nonetheless, this
Battlefield.
Game, oh yeah, the other thing is, the Battle Royale game they were supposedly working on, or supposedly going to put into either 5, or was going to announce with 6. That turned out to be either not true or they'd scrapped it because no talk of Battle Royale in this at all. I think they may feel like perhaps that opportunity has whisked past them, and they probably don't need to worry about it so much. They seem to be focusing on what makes me interested, and that is they're expanding this thing to be 64 versus 64 in a single session. And that's double what it used to be. They used to be impressive to say, Battlefield let you have 64 players on the battlefield at once, and that was true. 32 on 32. This is 64 per side. So what is that? What's 64 plus 64? I can think
128.
128 total players on this map at one given time, which is pretty intense.
I mean, it's interesting. We're climbing up there in concurrent numbers, which is always fascinating. As a PlanetSide fan, I'm always looking for shooter games that have a massive amount of players in it because that's very appealing to me.
Yeah. I mean,
so that does sound interesting.
Outside of an MMO, I think this might be the biggest there is in a shooter anyway, like an action shooter.
PlanetSide 2 is still running, so I don't know what the population of the game is like, but I imagine there's more than 124 on a continent there.
Is that how they do? I don't know how that game works. Is it persistent, like you can just sort of all exist MMO style in the world, or is it okay?
It's a persistent world where war is constantly being waged. So I can't remember what the max pop on a continent back in its first iteration was, but I think it was in the 200 or 300s at the very least. Like there were a lot of people around, and it's awesome. And if you could play PlanetSide 2, you'll see that.
Yeah. But
it's janky. So the appealing part about a company like DICE, I guess, is making this, right?
Yeah,
so
DICE. Yeah.
The fidelity's always been an issue. So big boomy battles are fun. I mean, that's what's appealing about Battlefront as well. They have lots of players in it, but
yeah,
scale, man.
Scale is
a thing.
Yeah, scale is a thing.
I think the fun experience about these games is it's a lot like war. Like you go out to go shoot stuff, and then you immediately get blasted in the door, and you're like, I guess this is what war would be like, right? Yeah. Like on Normandy and D-Day, like get out of the boat, you're dead. Like it's like, oh, war sucks. What an interesting experience.
Except for the respawn part, and that part's cool. The other thing, and Lyle Schnub in the chat reminds me this is true. Battlefield 3 for the PC. Back in the day, that was 2013 or something. They touted a 64 versus 64 map that they had on PC only, and it was like a big deal for 3. So yes, there was a previous example of this, but this thing's going to be 64 on 64 across the board, multiple maps, cross consoles. That is to say, the current new gen consoles, and crossplay is assumed, but we don't actually know. It's just everyone's doing that now, so one assumes that they will do that. Anyway, I'm not normally much of a let's get super stoked about Battlefield, but I kind of want to keep my eye on this. I like a more modern near future setting, generally speaking, anyway. It's just, to me, that's more fun than, being stuck in World War II or stuck with modern stuff. Like, I don't know. My favorite Call of Duty game was the one was that Advanced Warfare? Was that the one where they went to the moon and shit? That was cool. That game rocked.
I think it might have been Future Warfare.
Was it? I don't remember.
I think Advanced Warfare was the one with Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, and that's the one though, right? The future-y one. Isn't that the one I'm thinking of?
That one's light future. That's like, we're going to put you in the live, die, repeat suits, and you're going to be able to lift heavy objects.
Right.
But it's not the one with Jon Snow where you go into space.
Oh, I have those connected as the same game. I guess they're not.
No.
So there was a Future Warfare right before they went back to World War II again. because they're trying everything. Okay, well that's fine. They're too busy printing money and
weird that
yeah. Go ahead.
I think of these games by their like stunt casting. It's like, okay, which was the one with Kevin Spacey? Which was the one with Jon Snow?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
who's our celebrity get for this Call of Duty campaign?
Yeah, I just remember in that one with Kevin Spacey that he looked like Kevin Spacey because he was scanned in and everything, and mocapped that performance. But also, well, now I don't remember who played the main dude, but whoever played the main hero guy was a perfect scan of that voice actor. And that drove me crazy because it was his face and head on somebody's, not his body. There was no way that was his body. And it would
Wasn't it the guy from Avatar that was in like every action movie for one summer and then wasn't in much after that?
Dude from Avatar and Terminator Salvation.
Yeah, that guy.
That guy. Maybe you're right. I remember that bugging me though. I remember thinking, well, that doesn't match. Because at least Spacey was in like a suit and just looked like Kevin Spacey.
Right. They're
Clash
like, we
of the
saw House of
Titans.
Cards. We want it in our game.
Yeah. I can't remember that guy's name. It's an Australian actor. He's in Clash of the Titans as well. But anyway. So there's that. And if we're excited,
Just
great.
wanted to update on one thing. The max population on a continent and planet side is 900.
Jeez. Really?
Yeah, so that as a planet side player, and there are not many of us out there, it's always hard to look at these games and they're like 64, and I'm like, eh.
They don't know.
Yeah,
They don't
Nice
know
try,
the
nice
joy
try.
of watching multiple galaxy ships fly over a base and drop an army down on
Or
you.
just look at the horizon and see nothing but enemy players and bullets everywhere, like they're lasery bullets, so you see them. Anyways, nobody wants to hear about PlanetSide 2, but it is like it is a great experience, both of them, that just gets underplayed and appreciated.
Sure.
Like, no one talks about it.
So, Sam Worthington's the character's or the guy's name. So when I played PlanetSide 1, I never knew how many people were there. Is that a weird thing to like? I just remember playing. It was a lot
because
of people.
they never advertised it.
Yeah.
You know, they sold it a bit on like it's crazy, but it really was an unprecedented game. And I've always been on the lookout for like some other company to go like, wow, Sony Online Entertainment really has something here. Let's Blizzard it. Let's do it good. And this has never happened.
That's
it just
true.
hasn't
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge technological nightmare to have that many players on a server, and everyone's like, why would we do that? But there are some people who run that game who believe in it's just an entirely different experience.
Yeah.
There's no hero or I'm the best guy in this lobby deal. There's hundreds of people. You are gonna get owned, and
Yeah.
that's an equalizer in a weird way.
Yeah.
It's gonna sound like hyperbole, but no joke. PlanetSide 1 may have some of the highest highs I've ever experienced in gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I
some of
remember
the
loving
stuff we would do in that game.
Mhm.
I was
Yeah.
jumping out of my chair excited.
Gen holds are among the best. Like you consider there's hundreds of players and they're defending a base, you're trying to beat it, and they have a generator powering it, so to put them at a disadvantage, you'd cut off their power,
Yeah.
which stops their spawning.
Right.
So you load up in a galaxy with 20 chums, drop on the gen, rush in there, kill everyone on the roof, get in before you get taken out by the hundreds of people on the enemy team on top of the base. Then get in with your big mechs. You like mechs? You get these maxes in there. They bolt down. We were tearing, so and you just shoot the door. And you try and hold the generator for as long as you can, while the rest of the army, the hundreds of other players on the same server, now have an advantage to push into the base while you're holding the gen, and everyone on the enemy team's go to the gen hold, and it's this like white knuckles, like hold on. And you got your resin guys and heal them. You got your engineers ripping the maxes. You got the gunners shooting. You got people spamming with grenades. It is the best game in the universe.
Here's the thing.
Sorry, John. You're like you on ramped me
No,
into like
you're right. You're 100%.
I've never done that
right.
in another game ever. It is the best. It's an MMO experience because you do it with like 20 or 30 other people too. You will never get that experience anywhere
Well,
else.
that's my
and
question.
Games
Is
Club.
that the high end, and is that as good as it'll ever be? In other words, that feels like a holy grail kind of gaming thing to reach to match.
Two doesn't have the highs that the original. The original had a special sauce that some of us tasted and the rest of the world will never taste. Basically, that's basically it. That's
Okay,
it.
but now we're to a place technologically where
Not
we
wrong.
somebody should be able to do this right and get
yeah,
the
I mean
thing
it's
you want.
possible, but it's I mean, PlanetSide was not a hugely profitable game because that game owns people. It doesn't like there's a little secret. Most gamers, even though they like to talk like they're hardcore or whatever, like the power fantasy. And this game, in real war, no one is awesome. You're all bullet sponges to die, and you got to work together to survive.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. And games these days are made to, we get XP levels and we get things and get your dopamine. This game was never designed to make you feel good. It was designed to be cool and sci-fi, but it was designed to be brutal. Like it was designed to be warfare.
I'm glad you said that way, because to me that is actually the hard line to draw. There's this line between cooperative, intense, organized play, even with strangers, and then this other side, which is I'm the lone gunman who can win this whole thing by myself and rack up the most kills and walk away with my EP held high.
Yeah. So
that's hard to design for.
So there was an elite squad on my server called there were Knights of the Old Republic, and what armies would do is they would go to contents to try and get a foothold and start an army in one of your home continents. So you'd have these fast response teams that were elites that never wore heavy armor. They just wore light armor, flew in quick, fast response ships, went back and took out, cut it off before they were able to get a hold of that home continent, because they were trying to distract you from another battle somewhere else, right? And so that was their whole thing. Our guild, we did cavern stuff. So anytime they tried to get benefits from the caverns, we had a small outfit that would go in and, defend or try and get in there. And yes, it's a high when you're a small team of 4 taking on 20 people and owning them. Mm. We also had a word for the noobs in there, because some people just played, they didn't guild up, they weren't very good. They were the Zerg. And, we laughed at them because they couldn't even drive vehicles. They'd foot Zerg across the continent. And it's kind of like, the general army, the fodder that you send in an army. Like, It was literally, like we were playing a bigger war game, while people who were just casually logging in and running around having fun, we would use them for, their purpose in the army. It's just...
That's a tricky thing to land.
I could do a whole show on nothing but talking about PlanetSide.
If you talk to people who play PlanetSide, everybody has like these crazy stories, and they all sound like war stories. I mean, my highlight was we all worked together. The squad that I ran with, we all worked at a retail store together. We all played PlanetSide, and everybody had their own specialties. And we pilot this galaxy ship over the towers, and we had worked on our parachute drops. Wasn't a parachute, but you could drop out of the galaxy and land safely without dying. And we had timed it to where half the squad would land at the base of the tower and half of the squad would land on top of the tower.
Right,
you'd have your hackers crack the door. Then you would have your heavy mechs go in, and you would just hold this center area, and you would just fortify up and hold it. And I mean, the coolest thing is you would do these things where you would fight for hours to take one base, and you would feel like you had just been in the best multiplayer game you'd ever played, the best shooter match you've ever played, and you finally did it, and you took the place, and you now have control over it, and you can respawn there and all of that. And then the third faction showed up. Like the fact that there was a third faction was such a brilliant idea, because you'd be like, oh, it's Horde versus Alliance, red versus blue. We're getting them. And then the stupid Vanu Sovereignty, the purple guys, would show up and be like, we're in this game too. And you're like, frick, now I got to deal with these guys. Right when we thought we were done. It was just great. It was super, super fun. I love PlanetSide. I didn't get to play it for very long, but for the time I did, it was one of the best games I ever played.
I played it way too long. Also, Orbital Strikes. No game will do that ever again. At the highest command rank, you could shoot down an orbital strike that could literally kill 40 people. Just like, it was so big and so large, and you would find their mobile spawning station, which was cloaked. So you had to send a cloaker out to find where the mobile station was. And cloakers were invisible unless they moved too fast. So they would slowly sneak around, find the invisible mobile station, relay it to a squad mate who had command rank for it. And then you go orbital strike right on the spot, and come on! You blew up 40 people, and like it had a 3-hour cooldown. But when you did it, it was like, it's better than sex. You're just like, holy shit! I just killed 40 people. Like, this is great.
So hold on a second. When you did that have a massive cooldown, or how did you?
It's 3-hour cooldown. So if you missed, you felt bad. Yeah, I mean, it's a powerful effect.
Wow.
You got to use that right. But man, when you when you in the kill spam, you would just see your name and like brrr, you're like 40 people, and I mean, I've never seen that in another video game. It's hard when you've done such hard drugs to do the mild stuff, and like and like Battlefield 2142. That's why to explain my almost disinterest in it, I'm just like, yeah, they're trying.
Yeah.
They got good graphics, but
I mean, because what you've described, they aim for in these large battles, right? They're fairly large scale battles, and the concept is if you're all working together, you're going to do whatever the objectives are, and you're going to get some of those same thrills. And I'm sure that they're there. I know they were when I played 1942 on a LAN in 2002 over and over and over with my friends, but what you're describing is a level higher than that. Like,
I think it's because it's more sandboxy. So these matches are like lobbied instances. So. Yeah. You never see the people you play with again. In an MMO, like I knew a lot of the names on my team. I knew a lot of the names on the enemy team. You formed rivalries from people that would log in frequently. And like John said, battles could last hours. Like you'd be like, I've spent 4 hours trying to take this base. I am not going to bed until we win! Sparta! Just like like you would just get so into it, and because it was persisted, even when you were at work or whatever, you'd log into the site and see how the battle was going and stuff. Like it was a living, breathing community world, like truly an MMO.
Yeah,
and I think that's played a really important factor in my interest in the game. Anyways, it felt like things mattered.
Yeah.
The fact that I won that match isn't just a XP and a check in my box and people congratulating me. I guess it was like, you form friendships with your guild and stuff, just like downing a raid boss or anything else. It was,
and even though it wasn't truly permanent, but it felt like there was some permanence to what you did, right? Like you felt like whoever you had, people had to earn that shit back. They didn't just reset and go up, red team won, blue team lost, reset everything, start over. It wasn't like that. You had to go do it again.
There were tactics involved. Like, let's say we won a base after 4 hours, and then the freaking Vanu sovereignty shows up and starts attacking your home continent. All forces get recalled, and then the NC, the new conglomerate, because I played Terran Republic, just take that base back easy because we all had to recall for a very important defense back at home continent, and they weren't for any points. It didn't matter. It was just part of the storytelling, the emergent storytelling of what was happening in that game world.
Yeah, it
was brilliant. It was true genius. And every time these Battlefield games and Call of Duty games come up, I'm just like, it's like it's like sort of talking about, I don't know, like caffeine versus high octane crack cocaine of video games, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I like coffee. It's just, and even PlanetSide 2, like, don't download that thinking you're gonna get that experience. It was really of its time, and I just wish, because you know how Overwatch made it so that you didn't have to be good at shooters to play a game.
Yeah,
PlanetSide had that. Like my friend Mike was terrible at shooting, but he had a grenade launcher, and he made himself useful healing and hacking doors and setting up turrets and being an engineer. Played a ton and couldn't hit a headshot to save his life. He couldn't even hit a character to save his life with a gun. And he played with us, and we loved it because he's an essential member of the team, providing support another way. Yeah. Overwatch before Overwatch in that sort of regard. So
right. Yeah, that's what you're describing sounds a lot like the micro of Overwatch, but blown up big.
It was designed by the Tribes. I never played Tribes in its heyday, but it was designed. It was designed by PlanetSide. Was designed by the Tribes guys. If you have any connection to it,
I love Tribes. Tribes is one of my favorite shooters of all
I
time.
went from Tribes to PlanetSide because I was like, oh, this is great. Tribes is
that Tribe revival back in like 2012 or whatever it was really good, and then I don't know what happened there. I just don't know if it was, maybe they're a little ahead of when they should have been doing it, but the original Tribes 1 and Tribes 2, holy freaking shit.
I think it's just hard to go back to Tribes.
Yeah, maybe.
If I won the lottery tomorrow or at any point, you just think, I'd buy my family house, or I'd give some to charity. I would build the current gen PlanetSide. I feel like that's what I would be like, we're hiring devs. And I would making this game. Like, that would be one of the things I would want to do most, given the resources, I think, in life. Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah. Man. So real quick here, I'm just checking. High Res, they bought the Tribes IP. Okay, so I don't think they're going to do anything else with it. They
I
did
think
that.
it passed on to someone else.
Yeah,
like you
Tribes
said.
Ascend is still out there. I guess, right? Yeah, I think it's still playing. I don't know. I can't tell. But these are the same people that went on to make that MMO that's like third person Zeus gods. What's that one called?
Oh, Smite.
Smite. Spite.
Spite.
I want to play Spite, whatever Spite is. But yeah,
Good
they
name, actually.
High Res is cool. I like that developer, but yeah, I don't know what happened there. But yeah, that's a great lineage, and I hope somebody sometime, you could say PlanetSide 2 is that, I guess, now, but it would be cool if somebody had that level of ambition for it with the full knowledge that it may not be the mainstream thing that everybody's always aiming for, but maybe they could go for some, middle success and achieve some of those same goals in a way more technically advanced environment now, to pull a lot of that stuff off and do it with better fidelity, do it with better control, do it with better everything, and still achieve what that game was trying to do. I would love to see someone try to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there was some ambitious talk in the beginning, PlanetSide 2 having massive carriers, and they were actually going to make it into esports. This was around the time that esports was really starting to hit big, we heard talk a launch of 128 versus 128, I think.
Yeah,
like esports stuff, and but it just proved not to be feasible. They also tried to make a battle royale, and then they pulled it, saying they'd bring it back, but I haven't heard anything about it, so I'm pretty sure it's gone.
Yeah.
I think there's just a little vision lacking. I think they're very passionate devs that are designing that second game, but they made it too much like Battlefield. Like the shooter mechanics are updated, and they lost. You couldn't go in there and not be good at shooters right now.
Yeah.
That's sort of the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there you have it. And now I just want to kind of play PlanetSide, but that doesn't exist anymore in its current form.
There is like a secret server somewhere.
Are there?
Trying to get in.
Oh, I love when that happens. That's so good.
I'll update you if I get in. I'm a little scared of the strangers that are in there. It's I don't know if it's my scene. But
the other shooter game that came out as like a new service, the way Tribes Ascend sort of did, that I thought was going to do well, and then I just never heard anything. And I checked the other day, and there's still a bunch of people playing it. But that Quake Arena game, still going.
Oh, the Quake Champions?
Yeah, or Champions, yeah. They're still playing.
Where it was like Quake with Overwatch together.
Yeah. Let me see.
A sandwich.
James 2021.
I just don't think people want it. I think the problem is like what we're talking about across the board is you talk about PlanetSide and you get people like Bo and I who just come out of the woodwork and will gush over what that game was. And I think people, even when they're given the keys to work on it, they go, okay, but we got to find a way to modernize it. And they start looking at battle royales, and they start looking at Overwatch, and they start looking at all these other things to be like it. And it's like, no, you guys have to take the core idea of this and evolve it. And that doesn't mean riffing on what the other stuff. And I kind of feel like that's what Quake Champions was. I watched it and went, okay, great, it's another Overwatch. And I wrote it off. I don't know if that's a fair assessment of that game, but that's what I saw and that's what I assumed. And
still says it's an early access, by the way.
Yeah, they still claim early access. Yeah.
I thought it was launched.
I did too. It's still in early access, and also still, I mean, the Reddit pages, there's tons of interactions and talking about Champions.
I'm a little worried it's one of those, what is it, Paragon? The Epic?
Oh,
Epic Dota?
Paragon. Paladins?
Yeah.
Paladins. Paragon?
No, Paragon. Do you not, did you try Paragon? It was it's supposed to be an over-the-shoulder Unreal Engine League killer.
It was a third-person shooter / MOBA deal, right?
Yeah, and it was an open access for not open, but beta for a long time, and then just killed.
Yeah, well, Fortnite killed it, right? Didn't they end it after Fortnite took off?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's just, I wonder if Quake Champions is not like that. Like, it's been in early access so long, and I don't know. I don't know that it's making waves.
I feel like, I don't know, I'd have to look more into this Quake thing. It just may be off our radar, but it seems like it might be doing all right with a certain kind of player. I mean, I love old Quake, Unreal, Doom, sort of the arena shooters of yore. I love that stuff, but I didn't want to do one where it was like a hero shooter and I had to pay for it. And that was coming out right around the time when they're like, we all need to do some Overwatch shit or we're screwed. And now maybe people have different thoughts about that stuff. I don't know, but Speaking of
I think
which,
Sean makes a good point, though.
oh yeah, I agree. These are all multiplayer bits of news, by the way. The Last of Us Uncharted devs have confirmed they are making a standalone multiplayer game. I pulled this article mostly because I just thought that would be really curious to get John's take, given his love of that developer. I like him too, but they're making a standalone, like, who knows what that is. They aren't saying anything about that, but some kind of standalone game, and it is set in the Last of Us universe, is all we know. They originally had put job postings up some time ago saying Naughty Dog's newest adventure, come apply now, whatever. They have now confirmed, yeah, that's a thing. We're working on a game. We don't know what it is. Maybe at the PlayStation event. Oh no, there is no PlayStation event during E3. I forgot about that. They're not doing that. That's weird. Isn't it weird? They're not doing that. They should be doing that. Why aren't they doing that?
That's a little odd.
Yeah. Anyway,
Maybe they don't have anything.
so they're not going to say right away. We don't know what it is, but it could be. My guess is it's third person, elimination style. Like they make. That's what they make. Naughty Dog's made multiplayer modes before, so
It's not without merit. There was a multiplayer mode for the original Last of Us. They've done it with Uncharted as well, and they've been well received. So I'm not going to say that this is completely baseless and without purpose. And I actually think the gameplay in Last of Us Part 2 is good enough to where you could say, hey, we're doing more of that gameplay, and I would go, oh, okay, I want more of that gameplay.
yeah.
It's just everything is multiplayer right now.
Yeah.
Like, I am so sick of it. One of the things that Bo is always saying that I completely agree is it's not an issue of not having enough games. It's an issue of not having enough time. And right now it feels like every single company is not just after me for, a 30-hour video game experience. They're also after me and for the rest of your life, you need to devote yourself to our multiplayer mode that we're going to continue to support. It's just like, first of all, like, can't you guys all see that if all of you do this, nobody wins? Like, you spread the butter over too big a piece of bread, and you've got butter in one little corner, and that's it. Nobody else is getting butter.
Yeah.
But second of all, it's just it's made me fatigued on the idea across the board. Like, every time somebody's like, "Hey, we're doing multiplayer. What do you think?" It's like, I don't. I got burnt out. I did too much multiplayer. I am sick of trying to get good.
Yeah.
I'm ready to just be bad and be happy with how bad I am.
Yeah.
I'm ready to just be bad.
Yeah, don't get
I
good,
want a
be
shirt
bad.
that says that.
Yeah. That's why I think I'm this is funny to say this. Of all the competitive stuff coming, I'm probably most excited about Overwatch 2 because at least I know the contained space it's in. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just know it's going to be what it is, and I'll play that.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I would rather, and thankfully, there's a bit of a shift back toward big, beefy single-player experiences. The reselling and repackaging of Mass Effect is, once again, proof you basically doubled your money that this stuff has demand. And it isn't not everybody wants to, everybody thinks they want Fortnite, but they don't. We got Fortnite, so let it be what it is and sit over there and do what it does. Let Roblox be its weird ass thing over here. Let everybody make other stuff. Like, quit trying to copy each other and chase each other's money and actually try to be the next big thing that I care about. So, like, when Mario Golf hits at the end of this month, I'm super jazzed about that game because first of all, I love golf games. I love Mario Golf games. And there's the multiplayer mode in that. The only one I care about is speed golf. That looks like a riot. But I'm not going to play that for the rest of my life or donate a bunch of time to it other than a few kick-ass games, and I'm done. Mostly I'm looking forward to the single-player RPG elements and the frickin' golf that's in it.
Frickin' golf.
And that's all it needs to be. It doesn't need to try to be something else. So
yeah,
I'm with you. I wish there was more of an adherence to that. But whatever. This business is weird, man. They're all running around going, wow, money. We tried to make an MMO. It failed terribly. Never make an MMO again. Well, now we need to make a battle royale. Hurry up, everybody. Hurry up. Make a battle royale. It's like, calm down. Innovate. Slow down. Somebody beat you to a thing. Fine. Now you can go do your other thing. Once in a while, Apex Legends can claim to be a really good one of those that took a chunk of the market for itself and still retains it and has a strong place in it. So there's room for some of that, but there's not room for 50 of you.
Yeah.
There's room for like 2 of you, if you're lucky.
And I know every single one of them thinks, yeah, but we're going to be one of the big ones. But you're not.
You're not.
It's been proven time and time again that you're not.
Yeah, you're not.
So
You're
unless you genuinely have a really good idea, cut it out.
Yeah.
And I will say this. The Naughty Dog, they make good games. And by all accounts, again, that original multiplayer mode, I did a little bit of it, and it was fantastic. There was some really cool ideas in there. There was like a little micromanaging a community of survivors sim that you played between matches. That was a really kind of unique idea. Like, there was some cool elements in that. But at some point, you know, as everybody announces their next multiplayer project, I end up just going, well, I'm going to try none of them because there are too many of them. And like you said, even the Mass Effect people, they put out their remaster and they're like, there you go, we did it. No, we didn't update the multiplayer though. And people are like, you can update the multiplayer? And now they're going, I'd update the multiplayer. It's like, no, we don't need it. And I thought the Mass Effect multiplayer was actually way better than it had any business being. I was hooked on that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean we need it again.
Yeah.
Just go make something else.
Well, there's something to Horde. I mean, when you talk about Mass Effect multiplayer, Horde, like Gears of War and Mass Effect had good Horde modes. Like a good Horde mode is multiplayer, but in a different way. It's a different thing.
Yeah, co-op.
I wish.
Yeah, good co-op I like, obviously. I mean, we like to play it together. But I like new innovative ideas. I think the reason we played so much Dwarf Game, and I keep itching to get back into that,
Yes,
is
Vermintide
because
and Dwarf Game.
Yeah, is because that game said, "Hey, want to do something new?" Yeah, I do. I really do. Thematically and mechanically, and yes, there's some similarities to games we've all played. There's a little Left 4 Dead in there and other stuff, but they did it in a way that just felt new and fresh, and that's all. I'm
more than
looking
just
for.
shooting. Like, you know, it has a loop about collecting the rocks and doing stuff in there. Like, that's meaningful. It doesn't all have to be just the PvP. You know what I mean? Like, I really appreciate Dwarf Game for that.
Right.
For the tasks.
I do too.
And the weird stuff that we discovered in that game that it didn't wear on its sleeve as a big, you know, feature, like the friggin' thing that explodes and coats a room in gold.
That was
And then
Oh,
you
yeah.
spend the next
amazing.
5 hours just mining a friggin' hallway.
You can't
for
leave it
gold.
there. It's so much gold.
You can't leave it. It's like too much gold. And it happened in such a natural, emergent way that, I mean, it was a system in the game. We just didn't know about it, but we discovered it together and we're blown away at the same time. And we're like, look at what the frick happened up here. Gold's on everything. And then, I don't know, like those kinds of things I love so much. But also that's a small team with a scale they can handle and a game with a target they know they can target. It's not EA or, Activision trying to do quarterly earnings with something that's going to rival somebody else's giant thing that makes money, that prints money. So I more and more I just have to kind of rely on indies to bring me this thing we're talking about, which is do something new, do something different. And the big guys, once in a while, they'll poop something out or they'll refine a thing and make it real good. But for the most part, they're just kind of rehashing and iterating while the innovation seems to be coming from like a 4-man team in, Schenectady with a cool idea. I don't know why I said Schenectady, New York, but I'm sure they're
That's
fine.
great. I'm glad you did. It's
a good town.
my ears appreciated hearing Schenectady.
But you take
However you
Deep
say
Rock Galactic, right?
Yeah.
And that's a game that all three of us are in agreement that we love it.
Love
We
it.
want to play more of it.
Yeah.
We had a great time in it. I have just under 60 hours in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how much time a game I really love and I think is original and I think is great has.
Right.
That's what I've given to it.
Right. Right.
And that's not a lot necessarily.
Not the
but
larger scheme. Like if you and I were 15, though, it might be all we do.
it could be, yeah.
Because all we
And
care
if
about is
that's your
this.
target, yeah.
Yeah, we'd barely get a C in class, or our parents would leave us alone, and we figure out a way to play this. Like, I think that's part of it. And the gaming audience has continued to age. Some people started with freaking Pong and they're still loving it. Some people started like in the late 80s like I did with arcades and stuff and are still loving it. And then there's kids who haven't played a game until Fortnite for the first time and they're loving it. And so it's just such a diverse thing now. It's no longer the niche it used to be, that they got to figure out a way to keep me and you happy. And maybe it's just 60 hours in your cool game and I move on at the reasonable price I bought it for. And the developer was the kind of developer that was small and lean, and they made a crap ton of money for the size of their team. And they didn't have to like fire anybody because they're not EA, and it didn't hit 7% over last year or whatever. Like, maybe we're getting what we want. It's just so much. It just feels like we're getting, I don't know.
Back in the NES days, it was there's a long distance between releases, right?
Yeah.
And then even when there was a lot of NES games, you didn't plunk down. It was just different psychologically. Now we've got games that we bought that we didn't play, games coming out every week, all kinds of exciting things. It's hard to just sit still and be like, well, I guess these are the games I have for the next 4 months till the next big thing drops. Like, remember there was a time when Doom 3 coming out, regardless of how you received it, was just a big deal because it had been, so long since the Doom, right? It's not like that anymore. It feels like there's something crazy good or a remaster on the horizon.
Yeah, it just turns right around. Like today, I'll give you an example. Today I got 5 PC codes for indie games and 2 codes for Switch games.
Jesus.
So I know, they're all indies, but I got 2 Switch game codes today plus 5 PC games. Like there are probably some promising games in there too. Like a couple of them look really neat. And
you've only got 18 waking hours.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to play them.
Job.
And this is me complaining, going, "Oh, woe is me! I'm getting free codes." That's not what I'm saying. What I mean is, we are at such a embarrassment of riches period of the industry. It's just never been like this ever, like not even close. And I can't even think of anything close to this except for maybe entertainment, like video, television and movies, but only in the streaming era. Like the availability is out of control, and that's good, but it's also new and weird and complicated, and we're just kind of finding our way. Like
we also have a lot of people wanting to be flash in the pan hits,
Right.
or maybe they don't necessarily want to be, but that's the realm they fall in.
They're gonna make their sales up front and not
right.
Just around
our goal is to be the number one thing on Steam and Twitch for the month that we're going to be popular, and then we're going to go away. I mean, when Fall Guys was given away for free on PSN, Fall Guys was all anybody talked about.
Right.
And it was all anybody talked about for about a month, maybe. And then it was what was that Ghost game? You played it. I wanted to play with you, Scott.
Not Among Us, but no, there's
Ghost
still
of Tsushima.
No, it's still in early access. It's the multiplayer co-op one.
Ghostlands. I'm sorry.
Frick.
Phantasmophobia.
Phantasmophobia.
Phasmophobia. Phantasmophobia.
Yeah,
it's nothing to do with ghosts. Sorry.
It's Bo's like, these are all the Ghost titles I know. Ghost Recon. Ghost Recon.
Yeah. Ghost. But yeah, like that's a cool game. But you're right. They make this huge splash, and then they leave. Among Us. But see, those games are all still super popular. We're just not. We have moved on, but a lot of people there's the reason Epic bought the running turds. What's the game? You just said it. You just said the name of it. The little running
turds.
Fall Guys. The running turds. The reason that Epic just purchased them not long ago, like a month ago or something, is because it is still an ongoing deal with lots of money involved and potential revenue. So they didn't buy it because it was a waning deal. So yes, these things still stick around. But if you're like us and we're just sort of like looking for the best scratch to the itch we have, it's hard to find it. Like I get so much itching done in Shipbreaker, because Shipbreaker it's so weird. Like the other day I look at my library, I'm like, there's a billion things for me to play here. And there's a whole bunch I've got that's new that I want to play. Bo got me excited to get back into Cyberpunk, and I did, and I'll talk about that later because I had a really weird experience in there. But I was like, I'm going to try this or try that, and then every time I just go, or I could just go tear some ships apart and make money. You know what I mean? Like,
you got to follow your heart.
And I love that that's true. I love that it's true that I can do that, because I don't know that there's choice paralysis, but there's also, also I'm not saying I don't want the choice. I don't know. This is a big, broader issue that we could go a million directions on and talk all night about, but I find
It's hard.
I find it fascinating where we're at right now. It's
I
really
think all that
interesting.
comes up when you hear a thing like Last of Us is making a standalone multiplayer game,
Yeah.
or the devs doing something or doing something completely different. You're like, okay, but I liked what you were doing. Like, but I
Yeah.
guess you should grow and you're artist, do something different. But
Yeah.
you're like, I get
But
stressed when I hear
but
about
are they
new
doing
games,
it because
honestly.
it's their passion, or are they doing it because someone said, "Hey, what if you made something that we could put a real long coattail on and make a bunch of money?"
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have to just release a $60 game and then go, "Yeah, that sold really well," but pales in comparison to selling stupid hats in this ridiculously small game that's still going. For
Well, what's crazy
months
too
and
is we
months
now
and
live in a
months after
time where
release.
all of that's true, but then also add on top of that, hey, remember that old thing? Here's the old thing again. Like so many people I know, some in the chat are talking about it now and even playing it while they're listening to us right now. They're playing the Burning Crusade Classic, an MMO that is huge and old that you all played already, and you're doing it again, all at the same time. All this other new stuff is happening. And we're yelling. There used to be a time where Blizzard made 2 games, StarCraft, Warcraft. Maybe Diablo was on the way, but that's all they did. And we used to think, wow, this company with their 2 games, cool. Now they make like 7, whatever it is, and we're still complaining that they aren't making more. You know what I mean? Like our
And then there's tons of stuff to play outside of Blizzard. as
yeah,
well.
we're just gluttonous, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what's
pretty
going
much.
on. All right.
And nothing's balanced, and
No.
everything's broken.
Everything's
if I gotta
broken.
see another CP2077 as bugged YouTube thumbnail, I'm gonna uninstall
Well,
YouTube.
There you
somehow.
have it.
You're gonna maybe hear one of those stories on this show.
Oh,
That's okay.
Really?
I don't mind it coming from you guys.
All right. Well, that's not so bad then if it's us. Speaking of Overwatch and crossplay and multiplayer, they're adding crossplay. The beta is being announced, so that means they'll work toward a final release of a patch. But they're adding crossplay to all platforms for Overwatch. Probably long overdue. Also, I'm assuming that the player base is probably consolidated a bit, and it would be good if they had more people in more matches, less wait times, that sort of stuff. So if you are still playing a bunch of Overwatch, look forward to that. You'll be able to pwn some noobs on their Switches while you're on your Xbox or on your PC or whatever. It's all going
Is
crossplay.
PlayStation a part of this, or they've sat this one out too?
They say all, but
Oh,
it's funny
so
because
PlayStation got their money.
they must have. Yeah, I mean,
They got their bag.
Blizzard's got the money, I guess. But they're doing that. It seems like maybe in preparation for 2, because 2 will definitely be cross-platform. One would think if you're going to be a modern game, they're all that way now. So
Yeah, seems.
It's nice of them to roll this out for all the beta testers of Overwatch before the actual game comes
basically,
out.
yeah,
That's cool.
you're not
Yeah.
wrong. That sounds like exactly what they're doing. And then speaking of something that is single player and supposed to be amazing and nobody can shut up about it, and it sounds like it might be the best game reviewed of the year so far, Ratchet and
Really?
Clank A Rift Apart, or just Rift Apart. There's no in there. Sounds like a pretty awesome game. I'm seeing perfect 10s from people who have never given a 10 in their entire reviewing career.
Wow.
Gene Park, for example, a guy I follow on Twitter, super nice guy, works for the Washington Post now, reviews games for them and does games writing and all that. He has never given a 10 to anything. And he gave it to this. He said it is a perfect, uncompromised video game.
Who's the developer again?
Insomniac, right? Isn't that who that is? Hold on.
I think so.
Ratchet.
I sometimes get it mixed up. Yeah, I think that's right. Yes.
Yeah, it's Insomniac. They don't make bad video games, Insomniac. They make great video games.
Yeah, but still, to achieve like it's not. I'm assuming it's not just him that gave it a 10, but they're getting high scores from a lot of.
Yeah, there's a lot of people writing about it, and unfortunately, none of us have PS5s.
Oh yeah, it's a PS5 exclusive, so we're kind of stuck.
None of us have gotten to play it, but I
Yeah.
felt it was fair with all our Microsoft talk to talk about this. Honestly, this more than even Spider-Man, which I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, has got me itching to get a PS5. But I think I'm just gonna tell my parents hey, you guys should really get Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Yeah, do that.
And then when they aren't interested in it, I'll play it when I'm over at their house.
That's exactly how you should handle it. With Sony's new seemingly somewhat intention to move some of their games to PCs, maybe that game could end up there, possibly, but at the least you're looking at a year or two before that would ever happen. So yeah, it's where you're gonna have to play it, but it looks real good, and the reviews are kind of off the charts. So there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal. That's cool. I mean, I'm really glad to hear that
really cool.
Sony's kind of got their first true hit. Like Miles Morales was a hit, but it was also kind of a known quantity. We already had a good Spider-Man game. This was more of that. This to me feels like their first bona fide like monster out of the gate kind of thing. And it sounds like a lot of fun, and I wish I was playing it, but sadly none of us can get PS5s. And yes, Gene Park is a great Twitter follow. I highly recommend following him on Twitter. He's great. Okay. Well, that's it for that. Now it's time for a Dear Martha Steam review. Yes.
Two of them, actually.
Oh my gosh, really? Okay, great. And these are both just standard Ken Burns style on both
It's
these.
a haboob of them.
I don't know. Can you get me the Russian one?
Yeah, I've got it right here.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll start with the Ken Burns. We'll end with the Russian one.
Excellent.
Just to change it up, make it feel like two different people are reviewing this.
All right, excellent.
thing.
Let's get started then with our first one. Enjoy.
My dearest Martha, I write to you today to review The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3, a cartoon series on Steam. Seriously. Martha, honestly, unless you want to say, I have that Super Mario 3 series in my Steam collection, this is somewhat of a pointless release to have. It really doesn't have any benefits over other platforms you can view them on. Hell, you can view them at the same quality for free on YouTube, for crying out loud. And I'm sure Nintendo isn't going to cry if you watch them for free. I'm only putting a recommendation for the series itself, as it's a pretty fun little show with some interesting setups and a lot of charm. Also, Milli Vanilli was on it. That's worth watching the series alone just for how outdated it is in that respect. Yours in this life and the next, Laudica.
The Milli Vanilli respect? Is that what he means? Okay. That's great. All right, excellent. So that's...
Can I
Can
I clarify
yeah,
something?
Please.
Is this Super Mario Brothers 3 on Steam?
No, it's the
Nope,
show,
it's
the
a
cartoon.
cartoon.
Yeah. So it's on Steam.
Cartoon show.
It might not be available in Canada because I'm looking for it. The Adventures of Super Mario.
Yeah.
It's called The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3.
Oh my god.
Super
Yeah, it's not on my Steam,
Mario
guys. It's not allowed in
Bros.
Canada.
3.
Oh man, they got you again.
Let me see
I
this.
mean,
real
I'm
quick.
like, what are you? I'm trying to look up while you're, I was like, what is this?
Oh, look at this. Here, I'll play a little bit of one here.
Oh, yeah, I'm finding it on YouTube, I think, right?
Everyone thought King Koopa had left the Mushroom Kingdom, and then his Doom ship attacked.
His Doom shipped. Oh, shit.
His Doom ship
That
attack.
sounds like the same guy that does the immediately Big Mega Man, but like less drunk.
Wait, let me hear him again.
King Koopa was back with the greatest danger ever known, his Koopa kids.
It's a little lower, a little more hello. And also, I think the audio
It
in
was
this
me
has been-
when he was young and sprightly before he became a
I had
nuttery
no
old man.
idea this was a cartoon.
I didn't either. This is my first seeing of this. And I didn't know Steam
my
carried
God.
episodes. That's crazy. That's the weird bit, obviously, because it's a Steam review. All right, John, that's one thing. But now this.
My dearest Martia, I present review of The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3. Martia, I want the Mario games to play, not the video to watch. Where do I find the Mario games? Yours in this life and next, D-Maker 53406.
I'm so glad you decided to do that one. That's really funny. Oh,
I
my
enjoy
gosh.
that he knows enough how to leave a Steam review, yet doesn't understand why the game would not be on Steam. Like,
was really
He's
good.
like, where is it?
Martia.
I'm picturing the John Travolta meme of like looking around. Like,
You even gave her you gave him the right name for the lady instead of Mario. Dear Martia.
Martia.
Yeah, that was great.
So I'm thinking, it made me think of Metro and Artyom.
Or not Mario, Martha's what I'm trying to say.
Martio.
This isn't our Dear Mario segment. It's our Dear Martha segment.
Dear Martio.
Well done. That was great. And now this. Games we played this week. Bo, I took your advice, or not your advice. You just inspired me to do it. I fired up Cyberpunk. I'm like, you know what? It's been enough time. We've had major patches. PC version was already notoriously pretty okay. Why not hop in? So I did. I started a new character because I was like, I don't remember shit. So let's start over. Started this lady, corpo chick thing. Got her to the Jackie bits, had our party time after I made my character, and then did the first mission where you go find naked lady in the tub and all that. And done this 3 times now. This is the third time I've ever done it. This mission. And boy, they really like making sure that nipple's right up in your screen. They just love making sure, like, hey, we're a edgy video game. Check out these nipples. They're right here. Anyway, that's the thing.
It's true. It's not wrong.
They really push it. It's like, it's fine. I don't care that it's adult. It's just like, they really want you to know, look at the fidelity on this boob. And also the physics is kind of moving a little bit. And she's been in that cold tub with ice, so their nipples kind of, shrivelly looking. Like, they really go for it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of detail
really
paid to that
examined
nipple.
it. We understand.
Yeah, I looked really close, clearly, at what was going on. Anyway,
You're
so
not
I did all that.
You needed to know the power of your not Radeon, your NVIDIA 3080. You're like, what
right.
can this do for this nipple here? What have we got?
Turns out
You got to
pretty
put it
good
under a
stuff,
different light to check out the ray tracing.
which I have on, by the way. So I have all that stuff running. I have DLSS running, which looks amazing. Everything looks amazing. The game looks really nice with this setup. And it was also raining after that first mission for me.
I think they increased the rain maybe a bit.
They should, because it looks great when it rains. It's very Blade Runner. So I'm driving the car on the way to our next thing, talking to Jackie, and Jackie says, something, and I go, sure, and the game crashes to the desktop, and then it gives me some message, and then I lost my save, so I have to go do it all over again.
Don't you have? There was no autosave?
There was, but it got corrupted. It wouldn't load. So it says can't load.
Oh no, that's the bad part. So crashing the game is not so bad. It does autosave and you can quick save, but if your save got corrupted,
I know.
Oh, no.
I know. I was so annoyed because I was kind of
actually a pretty far chunk. It's far enough.
It's far enough in. It's a couple hours in. Well, maybe
like,
not that much.
Okay,
Hour and a half.
thanks, game.
But I was really into it, and I was like, I'm gonna keep playing. Let's go. Let's do this, Jackie. And then took a big shit. Another game. I don't have this. This doesn't happen.
You
with any
didn't
other
manually save your game at all?
Yeah, but it was ways back, and I'll start from there. That's fine.
Okay.
But the
But
latest
I get
one-
the feeling you're just like, ugh.
Oh, it just made me mad. I was just like, damn it! I was giving you a chance, CD Projekt Red. You're supposed to freaking work for me.
It takes you out of the immersion of, especially when you're in those main missions.
Yeah.
When you're doing side missions, it's kind of okay.
It's no big deal, yeah.
yeah.
So anyway, I did that, and so because of that, I was like, well, F this. I was curious about the recent updates to Legion.
Watch Dogs Legion?
Watch Dogs Legion, jeez.
Yeah.
They added a bunch of stuff, some new video settings, but also some just some content stuff and things. And I thought, you know what, I need to hop back in there. So I did, and I hacked a bunch of things and snuck in some places and did some cool stuff. I forgot how cool. I think that game's really cool. I think that game's pretty rad.
Forgot about Legion. I need to get back in there. My main character was the coolest character ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's some neat stuff in that game, like really cool things going on. There's also some... I don't know why. Ubisoft's kind of always been bad at this, but their tone is weird. It's like, hey, man, hacking the system, man. Like, it just feels like it's all pushed into your face by, like, somebody who wishes they were, like, anonymous, but they're not as cool as them. I don't know. That stuff's fine, I guess. But I like the world. I like the mechanics.
It's like it's written by somebody who just discovered that VPNs were a thing, and they're like, I'm a hacker now.
Yeah, exactly. It is like that. But once you get kind of past that or just sort of ignore that, the open worldness is great. The mechanics are great. What you do in the world is great. I love taking dudes down with my spider guy, my robot. I love recruiting new people. The missions are fun. Like that's a good video game. and I'm gonna probably keep poking in there. I think so. I know there's a big Cyberpunk patch coming. That's like a big monster one. I'm gonna probably wait for that.
I think. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I know very soon there's going to be a small patch.
Maybe I'm thinking of. No, I don't know what I'm thinking of. See, again, I have so many games. They're all in various forms.
I don't know. I don't think we're going to see something from CP for a little while, but the game will get supported. It's funny because you go to the official CDPR forums and it's way different than the story you see on YouTube and in the press.
Right.
It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
They're hiring people for Cyberpunk on their jobs listing page, for example. Like the game will have support. So.
And that's not even them saying we're still doing our multiplayer. I think they still are, but they're putting that all on hold to just get it back to.
Well, right now you can't even buy the game on PlayStation.
Right,
So
right.
I mean, they've got a road to travel. So
They do.
Yeah,
they do.
And it's warranted. There's some problems with the game.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I'll get back in there. But I have to credit it for giving me the hacker vibe, and then me kind of feeling the need to go scratch that a bit in.
Oh, did you hear the controversy about the game? Because the CDPR got hacked and the Cyberpunk source code was taken, like copied or whatever.
Right.
And apparently, in the code, in order to switch off localization for China, I think it's called like the Winnie the Pooh protocol or something like that in the code.
Okay.
Like that's kind of out there as a thing, and the top dog in China does not like to be called
China, well known for its sense of humor. So
I feel like maybe there might be other problems they're dealing with that aren't really making mainstream headlines that have come out with this.
Might be an issue. But they also, I guess, they put out a part of that hack, I guess, was a bunch of problems with the game that they thought were funny. But
yeah, I saw the video. There's a montage.
Yeah, like you were saying, but but the idea is that we better not release those because it turns out our game is full of bugs that everyone's making their own videos of. Why would we do it?
Yeah, that would be throwing gas on the fire. Like it's so weird because when you're the darling of the, I don't know what you want to call it, not just the gaming press, but the YouTube, Twitch personality space, then these things, roach on a house. Yep. Everyone loves you. But now it's just like, I don't know. I think it's hit a fever pitch. I don't want to get too deep into a diatribe about it, but it's not just CDPR. It's like Blizzard, it's EA. There's a whole cottage industry of people who earn money trashing games and game developers. And the suckers who listen to them, sorry.
Yeah.
They don't mean to bruise your ego, but they're just earning money off. It's National Enquirer time. Like a lot of that is what it is.
I'm pleased to announce our tonight's title for today's episode is going to be "Roach on a House." Everybody loves you. That's what it's going to be. That's an awesome thing.
That's where we all want to be, really.
Yeah, it's real good. So anyway, did a bunch of that. I also played a card game, a deck builder, if you will. Reviewed it a little more fully on the Boop Show, but I want to mention it here because I think it's pretty great. It's called Tainted Grail, and it's like
you got some powder for that.
Is that a grail you rub on your taint? You call it a
yeah, you rub it all over your taint, and then
Gold Bond medicated powder for your tainted grail.
Oh, you know what? I've seen this on Steam and was curious.
Yeah,
this.
and it
So you
probably
played it.
Yeah, it may have jumped out at you because the graphics are really good. Like
it's what you asked for. It's a deck. It's Slay the Spire with actual.
Yeah, with actual graphics, exactly. But it also has kind of this weird travel around the world Diablo kind of RPG sort of thing going on. Not top down, kind of 3/4 view, where you kind of move around the world. It's different than just choosing a menu and going to the next level or whatever. So you're actually moving around doing these quests and picking up stuff and that sort of thing. And then when you run into an encounter, it becomes this card battle, but the battles themselves look so good. It's just like high fidelity, nice graphics. Like everything looks fantastic.
Yeah. See, like I was 50-50 on it because I liked it, but it doesn't jump out at you like an Overwatch AAA game. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to die from the graphics. It's so good.
Yeah,
so
it's not quite that.
So you liked it. You thought it was.
I like it a lot. I'm really digging it. The tone's really good. The entire thing is set up like a Arthurian side story. Like it's like set in that time. But where magic and darkness and all that comes from is because you're in the WYRD, and in the weird, there's all sorts of shit that you got to fight and do and deal with and whatever. Multiple classes. It takes itself very seriously in terms of its sort of dark fantasy tone. There's not really any humor in it. But I'm fine with that. It's good. I'd call it like a roguelike meets deck builder meets an RPG. Kind of like if Slay the Spire had a little more RPG in it, and it's difficult and challenging and fun to get, to start again. Oh, they have this really cool mechanic that if you die, if you decide to jump right into another run, it'll give you a list of randomized perks to do the next run with that are really great. Like start with 20 extra health, or start with whatever. And, like these 4 different things that will boost better cards in your deck or whatever. It's like some advantage to starting again, or start with no advantage. But by doing that, you potentially get greater rewards if you get further and win more and whatever. And you also have progression outside of it in this town, where the town continually builds up and you get more perks and unlocks and stuff. I mean, yeah, if you're out there going, well, Scott, this sounds like a big, hairy, new, fancy skin on top of what is basically another Slay the Spire style game. Yeah, it is. But if you're into those, this is really a cool one of those. I really like it.
It has a cool look. I like the look of it.
Yeah, it's violent and bloody.
You've definitely pushed me over the edge on whether or not I'm gonna buy this. I think I might give it a go.
You might want to grab it. It's only $19
$22 Canadian. It's not bad.
It's not too bad. So it's not like
I've paid more for less.
Oh,
Duke
yeah.
Nukem Forever.
That's right, you did. I can't do Duke Nukem. I used to be able to do him. I can't do him now. But anyway, it's
I'm gonna pee in the toilet.
It's very cool.
Like
Tainted Grail is the game, and something else happened. What was it that I was going to mention? I forgot what it was. Oh, I installed it. I didn't play. One of our Tad Pooligans, Tally, I think she's here tonight, recommended this Solstice. It's on Game Pass. It's a D&D sort of original Sin 2 style thing, but from some other
Solasta.
I saw that.
Yeah. I keep hearing really good things on it about it.
So that uses the open rule set. So it's like there's a copyright free version of the D&D rules. Ostrich, I think, or something like that. Or so you can, you don't have to worry about licensing if you publish a book using stuff from that portion of the D&D rules, basically. So that's the game is essentially D&D.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. And it's supposed to be a very true to D&D kind of experience. So a lot of D&D players are like, oh, you got to try it, you got to play it. And it is on Game Pass on PC. So it's, if you have Game
It looked
Pass,
a little graphically unhappy. Again, that's always...
Yeah, I did too.
It's always a tough hurdle for me. I'm just like...
I thought the same thing. I looked at it and went, ooh, everybody's a little mannequin-y. And I don't know. It looked like a game that they tried to make in 03 and thought they were really... I don't know, that kind of thing. But I guess the gameplay and the actual like moment to moment is super strong. But you're right, Bo.
It's a tough thing, but if you hear good things about it, then you're like, okay,
Yeah, and no harm, right? Because it's on Game Pass. You can just play it. So may as well give it a shot.
Exactly.
That was another thing that I saw this week that I was really interested in. We actually had somebody ask if we were going to talk about it. Did you guys see the trailer for that Pela game?
Oh my gosh, yes.
New MMO.
I didn't see the trailer, but I heard about it. It's the people behind it that were interesting, and aren't they connected to the Dreamhaven?
So Blizzard, it's ex-Blizzard people, ex-Riot people, and then there's something going on where maybe Morheim is in some consultation mode or something with it, but it looks amazing. It looks like what I want. It's got the farming. It's got the house decorating. So you got like a little bit of Animal Crossing / what's the one that everyone loves? The 2D one where you farm and do shit every day.
Stardew Valley?
Stardew Valley in there. So a little bit of Harvest Moon style stuff. And then big open world, got to go out and adventure together to get certain rare stuff. There's a whole economy system apparently. Way less, combat focused, but way more into like just building and making. And I love that shit. I'm in.
Yeah.
There was a farm.
I'm
She's out watering her
about it.
farm. Did you see her out there farming? She was farming.
And those scarecrow people look awesome.
Yeah,
I like the art style. Looks interesting.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it. I always am trying to get my wife to play like a MMO of some kind with me, but she just wants to do the crafting.
Mm.
And every time it's like, well, okay, but you gotta go kill a monster. I just get a look like, why? So maybe this will be the answer to that.
And then it's like there's better games out there for
Yeah.
crafting.
Exactly.
And you're like, well, let's play No Man's Sky
And
or
this
let's play
and
Stardew
this
Valley. or
looks
something.
really pretty. Like it looks like a cool style, and you're right. Those scarecrow dudes look badass, and yeah, it looks neat. So we'll keep our eye on that one, especially given its lineage, and see what we think. Finally, we're on part 4. I just posted part 4 of my playthrough of Resident Evil Village. I've been doing that with John standing to the side and laughing at me. And I got probably a session or maybe a little bit more left. We're not sure. We'll see.
I think you've probably got, I would say if I'm playing it safe to make you feel good, I'd probably say 3 or 4 more episodes.
Oh, geez. Really?
Yeah,
That's a
you
lot.
might be more 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Because the last of the lords is the one that takes the longest. The only thing I'm not sure about is part of the reason why it took me so long was I was trying to collect everything, which not a problem for you. You're definitely not overstaying your welcome anywhere you go.
No.
So it might go a little bit faster for you, but his thing takes definitely longer than any of the others, and you're only in the prelude to it. You haven't even gone to his actual place yet. So
Gotcha.
you've got that, and then there's a whole epilogue afterwards. So you've got a bit to go still, but yeah, I think somewhere between 2 and 4 more episodes, depending on how easy or hard a time you have with some of the stuff they're about to throw at you.
Well, we're having a blast, and it's horrifying and awful. And if you haven't been watching it, you should. So come check it out.
You fought a fish man.
I did. I fought a fish man. This last episode was mostly gross. Like so much gross stuff in this one. The one prior to that was the scariest thing I've ever played. That baby vagina thing in the basement. Oh my gosh, dude, that was horrible. And then everything. It's all scary. It's all bad, and a good time. So it's on YouTube. If you missed it, if you didn't see the live streams, it's up at youtube.com/Scott Johnson. You'll find all my stuff up there, and I don't know. It's fun. We really like doing it, and we do them live on Mondays. So this next Monday at 5 p.m. my time, 4 p.m. your time, same time as we start this show. In fact, except Monday. Yeah. So be here.
You can
for that.
find out the big answer to my favorite quote that Scott has ever said in his entire life, and I will quote Scott Johnson right here. If I was ever in a fight with someone or a war, I would never say shit on me. Scott Johnson.
He hasn't played PlanetSide.
No, I haven't. But you're right. I did say that, and I refuse to apologize. I really, truly mean that. I've never. Oh, it's right here. In fact, is this
I
it?
believe you.
I may have the audio right here. Do you want to hear it? Hold on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this it? Hold on.
Oh. Shit!
No, that's me fighting a
No,
thing.
that's it. You'll say it
Is
afterwards.
this it?
I think.
Okay.
You're
Shit
working
on
up
me!
to it, probably.
Shit on me!
Oh yeah, this is it. Because I keep saying shit,
Shit on me! Shit on me! Please die!
Okay, here it comes.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Take it in the spirit. Which is intended.
I know where this is going. What?
Why was your attack battle cry shit on me?
I don't know.
Yeah, go get him. Go get her, Ray.
Oh, was that the end of it?
Yeah, that's
But then there was the part where there was the actual quote, though. Oh, I missed that.
Oh, yeah,
no.
there's the longer version at the end where you explain
Oh, yeah.
that it's not something you're into.
Here it
You
is.
know.
I found it. Okay. I'm going to skip ahead.
And if I was,
Okay.
so it's not. There's nothing. I don't know.
All right, here we go.
I don't know. There's nothing about the act of shitting on someone that I want anything to do with. So it's not like a thing I like. It's nothing I'm into. And if I was in like a fight with somebody, like a war or whatever, I would never say shit on me.
Yeah, I mean, think about it.
I would totally say hasta la vista, baby. And not shit on me. I would definitely
Not
not
shit
say
on me.
that.
I'd say cool stuff, like an action hero.
Well, if you like that kind of commentary, that's what that whole thing's about. So check it out. We'll be back live Monday doing it again.
It's not something Arnold ever said
No.
in the middle of Predator.
Nope.
Right here, do it. Shit on me.
You're not wrong. All right, moving on to John's continued obsession with Poor Dragon Manufacturing Company, Final Fantasy XIV. You say here you might have a problem. I assume it just means you're addicted and you can't quit. You're just really into
It is. Every week I'm like, I gotta play something different. I need to play something more than Final Fantasy. I should come to the table with one of these mini games that I could play and talk about and offer my perspective on. But it's so damn good. The story to Final Fantasy XIV, it's true. It just gets better and better and better. And I am so hooked on that game that it is becoming a problem. It gets to a point where I'm like, I have to go to bed at night and I am angry that I have to stop playing the game and have to go to bed simply because I want to see what the next story beat is. And
It's a good sign, though. You know, it's nice to have a game that you're like, oh man, I gotta keep playing. It's good.
Yeah.
So I'm having a super good time with it. I'm about to finish the Stormblood expansion. I'm in what would be considered the final patch of that story, and we're gonna move on to Shadowbringers, which by all accounts is like the best that Final Fantasy has to offer. So I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, game's great.
Yeah. It is great. I agree with you. We make a lot of dragon beef around here, but the truth is, it is great.
Dragon
Beef.
I had to mention it.
And the truth is, the dragons aren't that great looking.
Yeah,
they're just really cool.
they're
Like,
just- well,
Is that all you played this week? Was Final Fantasy?
Yes, that's
Nothing
all
else?
I did.
Not
I
a
guess
single
you,
iota of anything.
nothing else.
I might have played a little of No Man's Sky right after the show, but then I very quickly transitioned to Final Fantasy XIV and I haven't been able to put it down.
Oh, I was
Well,
going to say,
damn.
John, because of you, the first thing I did after that show was reinstall the PC version of No Man's Sky. I've been playing it on Xbox, but I decided to reinstall it and check out the DLSS features because I did. You were just talking about those or raving about those. Holy shit, that game runs smooth. Like, it's like a different planet than the game that released in 2016 in terms of like performance. It's just insane. It's a 5-year-old game now, but 4-year-old, but still, those new graphics features just made it amazing. And the first thing I did was start a free or a creative mode game, so I could just quickly get in and see the visuals. And the first thing I did was hop on top of a walking mushroom creature, and it put me right through his head, and I sat on his nose.
I saw the video of
Yeah.
that. That was really good.
Yeah, so that was you doing that. That was your fault that I got in there.
It's a good game.
Bo, you're doing the final missions of Cyberpunk and you're not crashing. That's fantastic. How's that going for you?
Yeah. So I've only had one crash, and I think I'm at 110 hours in the game at this point.
It's pretty good.
I've done all the side missions, all the hustles. I think I've pretty much tapped out all the story stuff, and I'm sitting looking at the final mission. And I just ran out of time because I went to bed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a lot to say about the game, but at the same time, I don't want to talk about it because it's a game you don't want to spoil. There's some cool stuff that happens in it.
Do you
but,
revive Jackie? Do you bring Jackie back to life?
Not that I'm aware of.
That's too bad. Darn it.
You know, the person that gets brought back to life is Johnny Silverhand, who has, I think I said this last week, but, you know, all I could see was Keanu the first little bit that I played, but now he's full on Johnny Silverhand to me. He's a great character. And I think there was a lot of criticism we leveled at it, but I realized one thing today is that, you know, the cyberpunk genre of which it's named after, we usually think a lot about the technology, but this game actually really also leans into the punk word of the cyberpunk, you know, in that the rocker boy mentality is literally, you know, punk music against the establishment, anti-conformist, burn it all to the ground, who cares about building structures. It took me a while to come to that, but there's one huge side mission where you're getting the band back together, which is awesome. It's really cool, and it plays into a lot of that kind of story of, you know, you got your Kurt Cobains or your Jim Morrisons that die, but what do the other guys do? And in this world, you're in that future, and it's good. But I will say, running the gamut on expectations, I think Deus Ex, and even Mass Effect lean more into actual science fiction ideas where you're like, oh, okay, like these are cool concepts. I think this is very much tapas, like it's a sampling of all the different things from a cyberpunk genre, but it doesn't go deep and moving into those ideas, which makes sense because the slogan from the pen and paper game is style over substance, and that's kind of what you're. Just so you know what you're getting into here, you're not going to get any revolutionary new ideas, but it's going to feel really immersive and cool when you're doing them. When you're in those some of the bigger missions, some of the stuff is just kind of ordinary, but like you'll know when you have like. I'm dealing with a contract dispute between a pop band and a rock star in the future, and I'm like, and I'm part of this, and I'm kind of like starstruck a little bit because these celebs are, arguing about contractual rights. It's just like you're just like I'm in this moment. It's cool. So it does a really good job of making you immersed in those moments in the story. It's Witcher 3 with a cyberpunk skin. It really forget all the expectations that the trailers put in. It's you wander around, you find a mission, you talk to some people, and then it's done, and you move on to the next thing. And there's some romance stuff and some story stuff, but so from that perspective, if you like The Witcher 3 and wanted another Witcher adventure in a cyberpunk world, then that's what you're getting here. That's why like all the nonsense about what this game isn't, and the bugs, granted, that stuff is like warranted. This game pretty much is that. The truth is pretty mundane. They released another entry into The Witcher, and I sort of hope that the expand, it's on the level of Blood and Wine, which I still haven't got to. I think what I'm going to do when I'm done playing Cyberpunk is I'm going to get back to Witcher 3 and effing finish it, so I can play the damn expansion, which you have raved about, and so many people have raved about. But yeah, I definitely recommend it, but I can see it not being for everybody, and I can see the disappointment setting in on some aspects of it. But.
I think the game just needs to hit. I mean, we know it's possible for redemption in the gaming world. It can happen. We just talked about No Man's Sky again, and that game is just like fully redeemed and then some. So can it happen here? I think so.
I don't know. I think one of the things they did, I probably said it last week, but The Witcher 3 features this crazy story, find Ciri, and then you're in the bog forever. Which makes sense for that time because you're just traversing. It takes months to find things, and during that time, another story might happen, and you're kind of this disconnected person, anyways. Whenever you butt up against big dramas like kings and stuff, you kind of participate in your section. You're like, I'm out of here, man. I'm a Witcher. I don't care about your damn kingdom. And the only thing you sort of seem to care about are the outcome of the mages, maybe. But this game treats you that way. That's the big mistake, is like, so you're a contractor, you get in this big story that starts off with a bang, and then you're doing all these small side missions. But the difference is everything's at the speed of cell phones in this world. So it doesn't make I think there's like a disconnect with how they plotted everything out, because I'm doing stuff like that contract dispute or hanging out in the Badlands with badass Panam, who you'll eventually get to meet. There's some Mad Max levels in this game that are fun. And I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm dying. I'm like chilling out, hanging out in the Badlands, trying to get laid, with the various characters that are in the game. That's a big part of it. And I'm like, I'm dying. Keanu's in my head going like, I'm going to eat you. And I'm just chilling out doing this other stuff. I'm like, that's like Witcher stuff when you're like, yeah, I'm dying, but I got time to hang out with poor people and their werewolf problems. Like, that's, and I don't mean that derisively, but they're so poor and dejected in that game. They're just like, mate. So I think I'm repeating myself from last week, but that's, to me, tonally, that's a mistake that they won't be able to fix with this game. They'll just release new DLC and maybe they'll feel more fun or something like that. But
yeah,
that to me is the most jarring sort of mistake, was just the pacing of it all.
Oh, that reminds me. I also installed the Legion zombie thing they're doing. There's an alpha for They're adding a multiplayer mode to it. That's basically
don't tell John. He's gonna be mad.
A zombie game, and I installed it, and it's John would hate it because, well.
I'm kind of mad too. I don't want to put John in that boat alone. I'm sitting there with him.
It's kind of fun because you're hacking stuff and killing zombies in the big open space, and other players are in there, and also NPCs that are not zombies are in there. it's kind of neat what they're doing in a, I don't know what to compare it to. It's not typical.
It's like a mashup or whatever, right? Like you got
Yeah.
your zombie tropes, you got your hacker game tropes.
Yeah, and it's just a mode they're adding, just a side mode. You don't have to play it, but in right now it's in alpha or maybe beta.
Well, I don't know if it'll go over well if Cyberpunk gets a zombie mode. Let me tell you.
Well, that's
If
the
it
reason
isn't
I thought
anything
of
but
it.
bug fixes. There'll be 100 million YouTubes screaming out in terror.
Well, that was my whole thing. Like, if they can get that thing up in really fighting shape, and then start talking about that multiplayer mode they'd planned, and then start talking about DL. And like, there's a path forward for that game, but they gotta just.
I'd be
head down
excited
and
if
go.
they showed up at E3 with Microsoft because they had a really big Xbox presentation, right? I think
they
Keanu. I think that was the Xbox or Microsoft.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It would be very cool to have some awesome news, although not likely. I'm probably sure they're still in fixing mode if I listen to my gut, but it would be cool to see, here's the patch with the bug fixes and plus missing content. That E3 trailer they showed, the first one,
Yeah.
I went through and watched it like shot by shot. There is so much in there that is not in the damn game. And it's fine. Maybe it didn't make it to release because stuff gets cut.
Mhm.
But it would be cool to see some of that stuff make it into the game. I mean, there's a ton of stuff in there
Yeah.
that just, I'm just like, oh, like even characters like Dex Deshawn has a bodyguard, and then there's this other character that shows up, and they're in a scene together where that bodyguard is eating noodles, and
Yeah.
then there's two guys approaching, and like one of the guys approaching, like, I think I recognize that guy from another mission. So I was like, I'm gonna see them in a mission at some point. Didn't happen, and I'm like, so was that just for coolness? It just kind of set this expectation of like, there's that girl who takes her face off and her jaw, and she's sort of cleaning her face or whatever, or putting makeup on. Like there's a lot in there that I didn't experience that I now can confirm. I'm like, oh, so this stuff didn't make it into the game, or was just. I say didn't make it because Dum Dum's in there, like characters from the game. Dum Dum is one of the Maelstrom guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are characters in there that I'm like, I recognize. Jackie's in there, V's in there. Like,
Did they call you for advice on how to name characters? Because Dum Dum sounds like something you'd do in a D&D campaign.
yeah, I'm jealous of that name. Honestly, I'm like, yeah, they could just call a guy Dum Dum, but the Maelstrom guys are kind of like they're hardcore. Like one guy's Brick and Royce. Like they give themselves
Brick and
handles.
Royce. All right.
There's Brick and there's Royce, and
You're making me want to play.
it's a good game. It's a great experience. The gameplay is, it's not super challenging, but it's challenging enough to be fun and immersive. And it's like finger food. It's like you get a sampling of mind control, you get a sampling of this other thing, you get a sampling of all the tropes, but it doesn't go super deep into anything yet. I haven't seen the final missions. I might be blown away by what happens. The only thing it goes deep on is relationships. Like that's the kind of thing where I was like, I think they went a little too hard on romances in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they form really significant portions of the story where I'd rather, it be some weird cyberpunk shit that they spend time on doing, kind of. So
sure.
maybe in a DLC. I don't know.
Sure. Well, life finds a way. The chat room wants to know if we talked about Valve being part of the PC Gamer Show coming up. We did not. I did hear about that, but as far as I know, we know nothing else. And also, the PC Gamer Show is notoriously underwhelming anytime they announce anything that's happening there. So I would rather be surprised by that event than have an expectation for any of it, because that particular show has
Half-Life 3 finally announced at
Yeah.
the PC Gaming Show at E3.
Because my guess is they're not going to, if they were going to really have, introduce that handheld, it ain't happening at that event. There's no way. That'll be a way bigger deal. If they were announcing a new game, I don't think they'd do it there either, unless they did it somewhere else and then reiterated it on that stage. And then thirdly, I'm almost 100% sure this is them just talking about Steam.
Yeah, what if it's a victory lap? What if they come out during the Xbox show and say, "Bam, Steam on your Xbox"?
Well, it could be. It could be a victory lap.
It
could
They
be.
said it says a message regarding Steam, and I just imagine Valve coming out, Gabe Newell coming out and going, "We're shutting it down." Then he turns around and goes walking off stage.
That'd be awesome. I want him
as
eating.
as a second place, it would just be you need to restart Steam. 'Cause that message comes up.
Yeah,
Like
there's an
every day,
update.
I gotta restart that damn Steam after I just started it.
I know there's so many updates, but yeah, there's gonna be Steam's got something going on that nobody knows about, but I don't think that event is where they announce it. somewhere else maybe, and then they, like Bo said, victory lap on that show. But my expectations are super.
I mean, that's a
low.
long shot. Steam on my Xbox, I'd be so happy.
Oh, it'd be
that
amazing.
would make me so happy. I'd just be like, all these purchases available on my
It'd be
console
amazing.
device.
It'd be amazing.
Thank you, Valve.
Yeah.
Like, I will give you more money. I will continue shitting on Epic Game Store all the live long day if you did that.
Yeah, you'll keep doing your part. You'll do your part. Half-Life Alyx coming to PC in a non-VR format would be cool if that's the announcement. I wouldn't mind that. Because I can't
I don't
bring
know
myself
though.
to...
I just don't imagine. Like, I'm sure the game's decent, but there's. So we got into this a little bit on our last Resident Evil stream, where I said, when I heard that they were making that game for VR, I thought, oh great, so we're gonna get a shitty Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And I got proven wrong.
Yeah.
And I want to say fully, I admit I was wrong. I was wrong about that assumption. I had a weird VR bias that came out, and I was proven wrong. So keep that in mind when I say Half-Life Alyx without the VR, what's the point? That game seems like it would just be a shitty game without the VR gimmick attached to it.
Maybe.
So,
I mean, there's already a big mod effort to make it work without Valve's help in non-VR mode. But I don't know if that doesn't necessarily contradict what you're saying. You make a good point. Like VR like shooter galleries, like just me shooting stuff out of the sky is a fun VR experience that holds up in that environment because you're so viscerally involved with that environment that shooting just Space Invader style shit that's coming at you is a fun experience. Take VR out of it, no way that's fun for very long. You know?
yeah.
Taking a mouse and aiming at 20 things, like who cares about that? So you're right. I think you're probably onto something. But they may, I don't know. They may do
Speaking
something.
of which, I think I should buy a VR headset.
Ooh.
It's kind of flipped my mind because as we talk about other things, sorry, it just came up. I was like, let me check.
I'd
Sorry.
wait till
I
I
may
think
buy
that
one
Quest
soon.
3. They're going to announce that Quest 3 before long, and
I should wait till after E3.
Yeah,
buy
I'd be-
Quest 2. It's like the Quest 3 is coming.
I think
out.
there'll be a Quest 3 by this fall. That's my thinking. I could be wrong,
Yeah.
but it
We'll
feels
see.
right to me.
I keep forgetting, and like Half-Life Alyx, just the way John was speaking, like I think it's meant to be played in there. I'm like, I need to get a headset. I need to try this game. Like it's
Anubis in the chat says it's the gaming experience of his lifetime. I played it on an Index, the Valve Index, and those are big words to say. The gaming experience
I mean,
of my lifetime.
it could be. I don't discount it. My issue is always that, like, I was never sold on VR. I never ran out and said, oh, you know what, I need to get this headset, which is shocking because I have a lifetime subscription to Star Trek Online. I am very susceptible to being told I need something I don't need and thinking I need it and spending money for it.
Yeah.
But VR never got me. But I see it and I'm like, you know, if it worked, it could. I remember playing what was it? Dactyl Nightmare
Yeah.
in a VR lounge that was in the mall at one point, and I remember thinking that was a real amazing moment in my gaming life. I was like, oh man, it was like I was really there.
Yeah.
That dactyl that was made of 8 polygons was so real. It was in my face. It picked me up and dropped me. But you know, I would love to see it. It's just such a big buy-in, and it'd be like, all right, well, I'll get Half-Life Alyx, and then what do I do?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to buy a shooting gallery game. I have no interest in it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. You don't care.
I'm not interested. So it's a very big buy-in for something that Valve seems to have supported, but then I don't know where my interest is once that's over.
Yeah. You should watch that Resident Evil 4 video in VR. They're making that.
Oh,
And
that's right.
it's
video in VR is pretty good too, by the way. Like just going parachuting and stuff.
Oh yeah, that stuff's great. But like the way that they're making Resident Evil 4, it's so tactile. Like the inventory, you're literally picking the gun up and moving it here with your hands, and the inventory systems is suddenly like a physical thing, not just an annoying interface.
That's not a grid.
Yeah, yeah. It seems really neat, but I don't know. Seemed like something.
What
John
they should
might-
do is they should make it so that you have a briefcase.
Yeah.
So if you want to go in your inventory, you put the briefcase down, open it up, and it's a grid inside, and you got to fit.
Well,
You got
it's
to
kind
fit
of
the
that.
pieces into the grid.
It's kind of that. It's
Oh, isn't that what they're doing?
Yeah, it's not exactly that, but you do pull up a case, you open it up, and you physically move. Like, here's the scope, and put it over here because I'm out of room, and I need to put 2 healing things here, and move the herb up because I need room down here for the
haul
explosives.
that case around with you
And
in the
you-
game world.
I think you just sort of
smashing
stow
it
it.
shut. You got guns sticking up all over the place. I organized it.
It's like George Costanza's wallet. It's going to explode if you squeeze it too hard, sort of thing. But
Yeah, exactly.
it looks
I'm
really
curious
interesting.
if
Nice
I would
reference.
be afraid of games, horror games, because they don't tend to get me on the PC that badly.
Yeah.
And,
It's
Scott,
way worse.
Yeah.
it has to be,
It's-
right?
it
Like,
has
I
to be.
wonder
So-
if I would be terrified.
I
of
have the
these games now.
DK2, right? And so when I
Mhm.
was showing it off, I brought Crofton over. I mentioned him on the show sometimes. Like, you gotta check out this Oculus Rift. Like, here's an underwater program, and it was like there was whales and fish, and he's like, cool. But I forgot to tell him that a shark lurks around,
Oh, nice.
and all of it. I forgot. He just went. He turned around. He freaked out. He's like. And it was like, this was in the early days. It looked like a 3-polygon shark. Like, it was nothing. And he freaked out.
Yeah.
And it's just a shark in blue ocean. It wasn't scary.
Hmm.
It was a non-animating shark, and he freaked out. So, yes, John, I think you will... There's a good chance you may shit on me when you play this stuff in VR.
Yeah.
Great.
It's
Just to go
visceral.
back to
It's-
that world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's visceral, man.
I mean, in John's case, I think you would just shift over to the way I am with a standard PC horror game without a VR headset. I would shift over into actual death. I would just die from doing VR horror. Seriously, I can't do it. There's
it
no way.
is scary. It's way worse than just on the screen.
When people are like, "You got to play 7 that way," no.
Oh, good God. Maybe just the lady Demetrius.
Yeah, I could do maybe her stuff in 8. I could do, but they didn't put it in 8. So 8 has no VR support. 7 was all VR supported, and I don't know why they didn't do it again. I have theories about that, but anyway, it's interesting. All right, let's move on now to this.
That's a good question.
We got emails. A couple of these been hanging on to. Got one from Gray Matter. That's short for brain.
Gray matter.
He said
One
this
day
in-
it may matter.
There you go. He sent this to talktothecore@gmail.com, and he says this. Hey, Scott, you were ranting about how classic is the same old graphics and everything. I was talking about classic WoW. But it has a classic option that you can play with all the new settings and effects. Just FYI. I'll stop there real quick. Not exactly. It gives you a slightly more distant view distance and some shadow changes. That's it. Polygonally, texture-wise, all that business, that is some vanilla-ass World of Warcraft right there, okay? So you have it's not like you have all the modern options suddenly in Classic. That is not an option in the game. I wish it was.
Yeah, I judge it by how the foliage and the trees look when you get up close. It's like they're stretched out.
Yeah, none of that works.
Bitmaps.
Yeah, none of that works the way he's saying. So that's not exactly true. Then he went on to say, so it's pretty much a remaster. The rule sets and mechanic values have not changed. But anyhow, long-time caller, first-time listener, found you when you started Boop and been following ever since. Love the addition of Dunaway. P.S. Japanese dragons are the best dragons.
Oh, we got a John fan.
I'm gonna just say that last opinion there made up for the fact that you called Burning Crusade Classic a remaster.
Oh, yeah. See, he's forgiven you because of what you said about
Dragon
Beef.
Dragon Beef. So thank you for that. We
I
appreciate
like
it.
you just fine.
Yeah.
I think you're a great person. I just think remaster is a very generous term for what Burning Crusade Classic.
I would say it's not
Yeah.
even close to a remaster. That's
Yeah,
the
I played
point.
quite a bit of Classic, and
And that's the point.
the
It's
draw
not
distance
meant-
is farther, but it didn't really.
Yeah,
feel
and it's not meant to be a remaster. In fact, it's the opposite of what people want. They want the old thing. Otherwise,
If it was a remaster, it'd use the new character models. That
Right.
easy.
Right.
Like that if it used the new character models that they updated, then sure, I'll call it a remaster. But in a world where they have access to a better looking model and they opt not to use it, that's not a remaster.
that is not a
at
remaster.
that point.
Not even
So
close.
saith John. He has spoken.
It's not. Yeah, it's not even a remake. Benjamin says in the chat, he's right. It's a repurpose, is what it is.
It's just the game.
It's the code repurposed. All right. It's one more email from Zach who says, this is primarily for you, Scott. John and Bo, you can participate as well. I'll allow it, he says.
Oh, thanks, man.
Good.
I think it's
Appreciate
On the
because
show.
I think it's because these are anime recommendations. You guys probably already know about most of this. I even knew about some of it. Vinland Saga is this Viking anime. It's on Netflix. Pretty grimy, he says. I haven't seen it. A few people have said that's one to watch. Subtitles, all that. So I may have to check that out. Attack on Titan. I already knew about this, of course. Who doesn't know about giant naked guys with their muscles showing? Anyway, medieval retro future, very good. Very little anime bullshit, he says. Well, I'll be the judge of that. I've watched some Attack on Titan. I've seen it. It's fine. It's cool.
It's cool.
Yeah. I like the fighting and the action's great. I watched a little Demon Hunter or Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer. Oh, my daughter's really into
That's
that.
like a new one, I think, or something.
Yeah, newish. And that's pretty good. The action in that's very good. I started watching Blue Lagoon. I really like that. Nice and violent. Black Lagoon, not Blue Lagoon. What's the other one I just started? Shoot. It's super bloody.
Berserk?
No. Oh, Berserk. Yeah, I'm watching Berserk. Berserk is very bloody and cool. The more violent and gritty, the better. I'm about to binge on that final season of the Castlevania series. That's the kind of stuff I like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it was fine.
Oh, did you?
I think the Castlevania series peaks at its second season, but
okay.
both of the following seasons, including this new one, are still good.
Yeah.
I just think it's hard to beat that Dracula fight, man, where they play the remake of the Bloody Tears song and all of that.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
That's such a cool moment, and I just don't think it ever got that cool again.
Yeah.
But that show was fun.
By the way, in the case of Berserk, I want to recommend the English dub because there are some great character voices in that are speaking English, and I really like the dub on that. It's very good.
Yeah. If you're looking for a cyberpunk recommendation in anime that's actually kind of decent, Psycho Pass is a good one.
Psycho Pass?
Yeah. It takes a little bit to get going. It's violent, but not uber violent. It's more of an actual sci-fi story.
I'm into that. Yeah. Psycho Pass. Here it is. Psycho Pass TV series 2012.
The cops they can tell if you're going to become mentally deranged.
Yeah.
You get a social score.
Okay.
It sounds like something that's happening today. Cyberpunk's becoming increasingly just today. And then if their guns detect somebody that's about to become unstable and commit a mass murder, the cops take them down and will disintegrate them with the guns.
Yeah.
So the guns are locked. They can't just shoot anyone. The Shibble system, they have to scan him, analyze him, and they go, "Yep, looks like he's divorced, been living alone, cutting himself. He's headed for bad news, so shoot him." So it's this sort of dystopian utopia kind of thing going on. It's good.
All right, I'll check it out.
It's a little disjointed, but the first season sort of has a beginning, middle, and end, so you can kind of watch that. And then there's a second season and a movie, and I think there's even a third one coming, but it's a little all over the place past the first season. But I really enjoyed it.
Check the where is it showing? Hulu.
I think you
Hulu?
might have it on Hulu. I think for me it was on Netflix and then Amazon Prime.
Hulu, Prime Video. Oh, it's on tons of stuff. Hulu, Prime Video, Apple TV or Apple TV Plus, their service.
Yeah,
Voodoo.
Great soundtrack too.
Okay, I'll check it out. Ooh, there's
If
something
you
on here.
want bloody and disturbing, you should watch a show called Elfin Lied.
Wait.
I'll spell it. I'll write it in the notes.
I feel
Give
like
me-
that's
yeah.
the name of an exotic dancer.
It sounds like a drug.
Lead.
It's a messed up show.
Elfin lied, it looks like.
Elfin lied, you mean?
It's pronounced lead, but yes.
Oh, is that how it's
Of
spelled,
course.
though? Oh, it is. You're right. 2004. Okay, let's see what we got here.
Chat room immediately goes, "Whoa, John, turning things up to 11."
Really?
Oh, I think I've heard of this, and I think this is
Is it really
I don't know,
bloody?
I wasn't interested in it. It's just, but
It's on
maybe
Hulu.
good.
I
don't
have
know.
Hulu. I could watch this. Hold on. This might be my jam. I don't know. You know what? You know what I like. I like a good violent hack and slashy kind of.
It is definitely violent. There is going to be stuff in there that you definitely don't like, and it is extraordinarily disturbing. Extraordinarily disturbing. The intro alone, I think there's like 70 people get brutally murdered.
Really?
In the opening
Spoilers,
scene,
Jesus.
including a fake main character. So
Okay. I'm in. I'm watching Elfen Lied. It's happening.
What is that on?
Hulu and Prime, Amazon Prime have it.
oh, is it really? It's just you can just get it
Yeah.
places. I'm amazed they'll put that show on.
What is it, like
anything.
contraband or something? Like it's considered.
It's just there's a lot of nudity, there's a lot of blood, there's a lot of dismemberments.
Hang
there's-
on. I have a question. Because I'm reading the synopsis, and I just want your confirmation. Imprisoned under tight military security, Lucy, a genetically altered human known as a Diclonius.
What?
Is that real? Are they
It's
called?
not it's not pronounced that way, but yes.
Diclonius.
Well, it says
It's called a,
Diclonius.
it's called a diclonius.
Diclonius.
No, I read that and tell me that doesn't say Diclonius.
Does it have goofy? Does it have the big-eyed, like frustrated face crap? You know, I don't like. Is that in here?
So the idea, I'll just give you a quick little spoiler summary of the beginning. Like, so yes, she is this weaponized human called Lucy. She's extremely violent. She seems to murder anybody she comes across. She gets knocked unconscious, gets some form of amnesia that kind of renders her into almost a typical, like, you would find annoying anime girl,
Okay.
where she only kind of speaks in cutesy tones and stuff.
Yeah.
But sometimes she reverts to the serial killer personality and just starts murdering people at the same time. So there's this very, like, are we dealing with the serial killer or are we dealing with this innocent child kind of thing?
Okay.
And it can be genuinely frightening as a result, where you're like, oh shit, that's not an innocent person. That's somebody that's gonna murder you. Get away from her immediately. Like,
All right.
I don't know. It's weird. I don't know if you'll like it. I don't know if this is a genuine recommendation. It is an extraordinarily messed up show.
All right. And it's notoriously so, right? People know this of it. They know it's like gnarly and horrendous. And
I mean,
whatever.
I guess people said I was turning things up to 11 by recommending it.
By the
so,
way,
yeah,
if-
it's pretty
I,
bad.
I want to put our listeners to work for a second. I need help with something on the anime front. So Knights of Sidonia has 2 seasons, right? So they just, in Japan, I think the movie has come out for the final. Instead of doing a season, they've done a movie.
Mhm.
So I need to know where I can watch it because it's out. Do they have a translation? Where can I get it? I can't find any information. If somebody is a good anime hunter,
Anime Hunter is a great.
anime hunter, it could help me. I think the movie is called The Star Where Love Is Spun.
Let's do a new
That's the name of
podcast.
my sex tape, by the way.
I want to do a
but,
podcast. Let's do the new podcast. It's called Anime Hunter, and I'm in.
Anime hunter.
Yeah.
We just spend the days hunting for anime that Scott will like.
Yeah. Why
'Cause
not?
I just
Likes anime.
Yeah.
It's
This
just
is the
very hard
first
to
time-
find one that he likes.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've been enough into an anime that I know that it's out in Japan, but not necessarily out for other audiences, and I desire it. Like I want to see the conclusion to this great tale. So if anyone knows where I can see The Star Where Love Is Spun,
I'm watching some.
in
This is
Canada.
this is bloody. I'm seeing some clips here.
Oh,
Elfin-
what?
Elfin Lied?
Yeah. It's popping people's heads off. All right. Well, I'll look into it. Scott learns anime. All right. Moving on. Let's get out of here. We've done a show, and that means we're done. We should be back to our normal day next week, which will be Thursday. So everybody tune in then. And by then, we'll have some of this stuff. Like tomorrow's the Jeff Keighley Summer of Video Games thing. What's it called? Games Fest. Is happening tomorrow, which may or may not yield anything new, but it's going to be interesting nonetheless to see what his thing's going on. And then a bunch of E3 stuff coming up. So we don't know how much of it. We may do some live commentary. We may not. I don't know. This year's weird. John's got a baby. I've never been busier with my freaking car game, trying to get it out the damn door and do everything else. And Patrick has a second baby and is like worthless right now.
aw,
They're not worthless. He's busy being a dad, but it's just
Yeah,
hard.
he had to one up me. I was like, I'm busy, I got a baby, and Patrick's like, well, I'm busy, I have 2.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
well,
basically
all
it.
right, fine.
So my thinking is some of this is going to happen. How much of it and who will be there, I don't know. But we're going to try to do
Well,
some
I don't
co-streams.
have any babies.
We're going to do some co-streams. And we do it almost every year, Ziggurat in the chat. Plenty of years over and over we do it. But this year we don't know because it's weird. So anyway, we'll let you know. Keep you in our thoughts. Thoughts and prayers, everybody. Thoughts and prayers. I don't know why I said that. All right, we're out of here. That's it. I can't think of anything else. Oh, I got to tell people, patreon.com/core show. If you don't go there, then the show can't exist. Like, we're paying the bills, you guys. It really helps. And those who already have, huge thanks from us. But if you haven't, consider it. All the benefits are there. You just got to read them. Patreon.com/core show. And if you're looking for anything else, you can find it at frogpants.core show or frogpants.com/core. I said that all wrong. Talk to the core at gmail.com is our email address. And as always, track us down on Twitter, CorePod, John_Chagger. I'm at Scott Johnson, and Bo is at Bo Schwartz. John, anything final you want to say to the people at home?
Please remember that the anime recommendations made on Core do not necessarily represent the values and ideals and beliefs of the people who make them.
Yeah, I second that. I back that up completely.
That's a good point.
I like some messed up stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like how it reflects on me.
Now I'm really nervous about this anime. Now I have to watch it. Bo, anything you'd like to add?
No, just be good to each other and be good to yourselves, and
I agree.
enjoy
That's
life.
good. That's a good idea.
Have a good time.
Do that. Have
Don't
a
be
good
mad.
time. Have a great week. The rest of your week. We'll see you guys next time.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
Never forget. Never forget.